Get your rub on with Addicted to the Q.
Hello, everyone. Tonight we are going to have on Tracy Hopson from Girls of Mississippi. So I'm just going to work on bringing him on to the call. If y'all please bear with me. How was everyone's weekend? Sinus infection. That does not sound much fun. There he is. What's going on, CJ? Saw you did some cooking tonight. Says I'm adding him right now. So let's see if we can get him on here. It looked good, that's for sure. There he is.
Hello.
I can barely hear you.
Can you hear me now?
A little bit.
What about now?
Hang on 1 second. There we go.
You got me?
I got you.
Good deal.
Put you in the tripod. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, sir. How about yourself?
I'm doing real good.
Good.
Thanks for coming on.
Not a problem, man. Not a problem.
Sorry, it was last minute on questions. It was a crazy weekend and a crazy week at work, and
Well, I know how that goes. Trust me. It's been quite an eventful week for me as well. So, for about 2 weeks actually, but everything's good. So we're gonna make it.
sounds good. So you ready to start this thing?
I'm ready when you are, boss.
So introduce yourself and tell us your team name.
All right, I am Tracy Hopson from Flora, Mississippi. The name of the team is Grills of Mississippi. A buddy of mine, Jonathan, and I opened that store a little over 7 years ago in Ridgeland, and we've been rocking and rolling ever since. We've gone through several name changes due to various situations, but we finally, about 2 or 3 years ago, changed the name to Grills of Mississippi and just let it ride, and that's what it's been ever since.
So what got you into barbecue?
And funny story, well, not really funny, but probably about 15, 18 years ago, 19 years ago, something like that. I was at my grandmother's house for it may have been 4th of July or something like that. And my cousin came, and he had a little, like a little Bradley electric smoker, and he had cooked ribs for everybody. And I thought, man, these are good. Like, these are some of the best ribs I've ever eaten, because I was used to, restaurant barbecue or whatever, which that's a different story. But, and I thought, man, this is good. I bet I can do this. So I went like 2 or 3 days later and bought me, I didn't buy like a Bradley electric smoker. I got some little garbage propane smoker and started on it. So it's been a habit / hobby ever since. So probably about 18 or 19 years ago is when it started. And that's what got me into it. And then it became an addiction. I decided, and I guess it's the same way everybody does when they start getting into barbecue and competing. They cook and they feed their friends, and everybody's like, oh man, that's the best there is. And you find out later in life that the reason they're saying it's the best there is because it's free. So,
You're right.
And then you go to your first contest, you go to your first pro contest, and you get humbled very quickly. So,
yes.
And then it's a challenge at that point. You can't go out like a punk. You gotta do something.
Yep, I've had my fair share of that also. So that's my next question. Do you do barbecue contests? And if so, how many have you done?
Oh, gosh. And I would be scared to say a number. I did my very first contest in 2006. So, however long that's been.
The barbecue scene's changed a little bit since then, I bet.
It definitely has. It 100% has. And yes, it has. It's kind of like when I first started, it was fun, but everybody was very secretive about everything. Like, they wouldn't tell you what time it was if you asked, especially if you were competing.
Oh, wow.
And then it kind of got a little more relaxed, and everybody started hanging out, and then it kind of went through that phase again in my area. At least I don't know about other parts of the country, but in the South, it kind of got like that. And it seems like now that everybody has kind of gotten back into they're a little more relaxed, of course. And if you compete, you're not going to tell everybody everything, because you've sort of worked on what you do, and you don't want to give it all away. Mm-hmm. And you'll tell somebody enough to get them started. I put it that way.
Yeah.
And people just seem genuinely a little more laid back, friendly these days. And so But anyway, I kind of got off topic there.
Nope, you're good. Talk away.
I kind of, there for a long time, I would do probably between 7 and 10 a year, maybe at some point. And then we were, funny story, I do KCBS and MBN, which is a Memphis Barbecue Network.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of funny how I got into that. We had signed up, registered for a contest in Hammond, Louisiana, several years ago. Sent in the entry form, sent the check. Never heard back from the guy. It was the week of the contest, and I told Jonathan, I said, look, like, we had already bought meat. We had done everything. And I said, look, I can't get in touch with this guy. I don't know what's going on. I haven't gotten confirmation. So he started calling, emailing, nothing. I think it was probably like Thursday morning of that week. I called and the guy answered the phone and he said, well, if I didn't have your application in January, you're not getting in. I was like, what? Anyway, real bad deal.
Wow.
It took us about 8 months to get our money back. So anyway, in the meantime, I was like, we've got to find a contest. We've got meat and I'm ready to cook. So I started searching, found MBN. Was never really a fan of it because everybody talked about the dog and pony show, do an on-site presentation. And then if you make finals, which is top 3, you have to do a finals presentation with 4 judges at one time.
Uh-huh.
So I found a contest, called Jonathan. I said, hey, there's one in Newton, Mississippi. It's MBN though. So I don't really care to do it. I don't know much about it. He's like, screw it. Call them, ask if we can get in. We'll go, and we don't do anything but cook in the parking lot. We're going to have a good time.
Yep.
So we did. I called them. I talked to the lady on the phone. I said, listen, we're a KCBS team. I know nothing about MBN. We don't know what to do. Can we just cook ribs? I didn't want to, at the time we weren't capable of cooking whole hog, and I really didn't want to cook a whole shoulder. She said in MBN, you can cook whatever you want. You can do shoulder, ribs, or hog, or all 3, or a combination of 2, or whatever. You don't have to have all 3 to win a grand. And I thought, at that point, I didn't understand. I thought, well, that sounds crazy, but whatever, we'll do it. She said, I'll put you next to a team that'll mentor you in MBN, and you'll have a good time. Long story short, got put next to this team, became super good friends with them. Everybody, like, at that point, that's what I had envisioned barbecue contest being. Everybody hung out and helped everybody. So it was unbelievable. So I strictly went MBN for probably, 7 or 8 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And turns out the dog and pony show was not as bad as everybody said. It was actually really, really fun because it sort of becomes a show. And how can I say this? How crazy can you make your story when you're telling the judge, because they know you're full of crap? You just got to make it sound believable. And it was so fun coming up with stuff. But anyway, there were some things that went on, not with us, that like there was some just inner workings of MBN. And it got to be where I was like, man, I just want to go back and do KCBS. It was easier. You're doing 4 meets as opposed to 3, but it was easier to do it. Went back to KCBS, been there ever since. We do probably 2 MBN contests a year now, and then mainly just KCBS. The last 2 years, well, basically since COVID, we haven't done as many as we want to or need to, because just the lack of contests in our area, and now B, everything is so freaking high, and the fact that we need to be at the store as much as we can.
Yep.
So, but that's how it goes. And I sort of feel like, and Jonathan's the same way, that we have the store, and it's kind of like we need to compete to improve business, because the way I see it is, and I may be wrong for thinking this, but the way I see it is, if somebody comes in our store and they're asking for information, how to do something, if there's trophies everywhere, do they want to get information from somebody that finished 40th in a contest, or they want to get information from somebody that finished in the top 5 in a contest?
Yep, I agree.
And they're gonna take that information at that point, and that's gonna be the gospel to them, and then that's gonna help them. They're gonna improve their cooking game, which ultimately is gonna benefit us, but it's also gonna grow the barbecue community. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So ultimately, that's our goal. And I'll tell you, man, it's like we had so many people tell us when we were first starting, or especially when I was first starting, you need to just go talk to teams, find out what's going on. I'd have been better off asking to have a fun time with somebody's wife before somebody would give me information on barbecue. And I thought, this is crazy. I'm never going to be like this. If I ever figure this out, I'm not going to be like this. And I'll be the first to tell you, I am by far not the best barbecue person there is. I never will be, and I never want to be, because if you become the best, it's no fun anymore. But
yep,
I get more enjoyment out of helping somebody else and then them getting a call than if I had gotten a call myself. That means more to me than anything.
That's what's nice about now. I've reached out to some people and be like, hey, my ribs look dark, or my chicken looks dark. How do I fix this? What do I do? And they've been more than gracious to help me.
And that's what it should be about, man. That's what it's supposed to be. So let's all have a good time doing it, you know?
Exactly. So what's the biggest comp you've cooked?
The American Royal and the Memphis in May are going to be the 2 biggest ones.
How'd you do with those?
Memphis in May 2018, I went with another team that wanted somebody to cook ribs. I'm not going to mention that team name. I told them, I said, I'll do the ribs if you stay out of my way and let me do it the way I want to do it. And I said, okay. So we finaled and finished 3rd.
Oh, wow.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda. I felt like we had a better product. I screwed up and got nervous in finals and handed the judges the wrong ribs. My finals ribs were still sitting in the hot box. The throwaway ribs are the ones that I grabbed and served to the judge. So,
man.
Hey, that's a big stage, man, and you get nervous. Trust me, I
can only imagine.
I was nervous. I was very nervous. So anyway, had a 3rd there in ribs in 2018. Let's see. We went and helped a buddy of ours this past year. Name of his team is Smoke Masters Championship Barbecue. Will Hare. He actually borrowed one of our hall cookers, and we went and helped him prep and got the hall cooker going. He had never cooked on our hall cooker. So anyway, long story short, he ended up with a 4th place hog at Memphis in May this year.
Oh, wow.
So that was super exciting. The American Royal last year, we did the Invitational and the Open. Had far better results in the Open than we did the Invitational. No, hold on. It was kind of 50-50. I think the best I did in the Invitational was like probably a 30th rib or something.
Nice.
And then in the Open, I had a 50-something pork. I think we ended up like 100th overall in the Open.
Not bad at all.
Which hey, and I'm gonna tell you, man, the week before we went, I called a buddy of ours, and you probably know who it is, David Bosco, Butcher Barbecue.
Yeah.
I said, David, we're going to the American Royal. When you get ready to turn your boxes in, just drop them off with me, and I'll turn them in for you. And he was like, yeah, I don't think that's going to work. So I said, what do I need to expect? What do we need to do, not do? He said, my best piece of advice for you is not get caught up in the magnitude of it and everything that's going on. And I said, okay, well, I can handle that because I'm good at tuning everything out. I was not good enough to tune everything out, and I got caught up in how big it was and everything going on.
I've judged it. I want to compete in it one of these days, but I've judged it about every year.
And I'll tell you, I'm not a party person. You will not catch me at a contest with alcohol, period. I figure it costs too much to do a contest, and I can stay at home and party for a hell of a lot cheaper than I can go and do a contest to do it.
Oh.
So it was definitely not due to alcohol and partying. It was walking around, talking to people, not paying attention like I should have been.
It's like a homecoming.
It's right, and it happens, and that won't happen to me again. I can promise you that.
Are you cooking it this year?
I'm not. We talked about it. We've got too much going on at the store to be gone another week like we were last year, and I've got too many like things away from work, like personal things that I'm having to deal with, and
Gotcha.
I can't be gone from home that long right now and feel comfortable leaving like my family here without me with things that are going on. So I need to be close.
I understand. They roll in like on a Wednesday or a Thursday for that's just a long weekend.
Tell me about it. We rolled in last year. We rolled in on Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, about 2 a.m.
Oh wow!
And we stayed. I can't remember the hotel, but anyway, we were like 0.6 miles from the track, so we were really, really close. So yeah, we rolled in. We left early that Tuesday morning. We got there about, I think it was about 1 or 2, something like that, that Wednesday morning, and then got up at like 6 and drove to the track, drove in, set up. Turns out we weren't going to get power till like Friday, so that sucked.
Oh wow!
Yeah, but anyway, it worked out. We had our room the entire week, so we were good. But I got carried away, man. There was a lot of teams there. Some of our sponsors were there, and hey, y'all come eat here. You know, we need to see you here. We want you to come here. And next thing I know, it's Friday night, 12 o'clock, and I don't have any of my stuff prepped or anything ready to go. And at this point, I'm like, oh no, what have I done?
Yep.
Like, and then once I get behind, it doesn't matter what happens. Once I get behind, I'm like, I'm in a panic the rest of the time. And I was in a panic the rest of the weekend, you know? So not making excuses, but that's what happened.
Lesson learned. I could see that. The first time I went to the World, even to judge it, it was like, this is the craziest / coolest thing I think I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. It's I don't know if you've ever been to Memphis in May.
On my list to go, but I haven't been.
The American Royal is about the same. It's definitely more teams, but it's about the size, maybe a little bigger than Memphis in May, but it's a lot more laid back because Memphis in May is a full week of parties.
Oh wow.
It is insane. Like, it's crazy, man. Everybody needs to experience it one time. I never want to go again and have to deal with getting there the weekend before to set up and then come back Tuesday and be there the rest of the week, because you spend a week setting up and decorating, and then when everything's over Saturday night, you have to be out of the park by lunch on Sunday. So that is a cluster.
I can only imagine.
It's a mess. So I don't want to do that again. I'll go hang out. I'll go help, but after that, I'm leaving.
I like contests and all that, but I'm not sure I could spend a whole week at one.
It's different, man. It's fun, but good Lord, it takes you a month to recover from it, you know?
It takes me 2 or 3 days to recover from just a regular contest.
Absolutely, it does. I attribute that to me getting a whole lot older and fatter. So
I told my wife, I said, I don't see how those guys do 30, 40 comps a year. I said, I'd be happy doing 10 or 15 just from the toll it takes on you.
There was, I think it was in 2016 in MBN. We started the season. We started it really strong. We did all three. We would do all three meets every contest. If we didn't do all three, we did hog and ribs. Those were our main two. We would do shoulders. sometimes, most of the time, but a few times we didn't. So anyway, there was a stretch. I think we did, gosh, I think it was 7 or 8 weekends in a row cooking hog and ribs. And we had Heath Riles Barbecue was leading the points in hog for hog team of the year. And we caught him and tied him at the last. We went to Batesville, Arkansas, and we finaled. He didn't. So we caught him and tied him in points for team of the year. And man, I think that was like our 7th or 8th one in a row. We're driving home from Batesville, Arkansas. I told Jonathan, I said, man, I'm tired. He said, yeah, I'm wore out. And I'm like, no, I'm tired. Like, I need a break. And he's like, you don't want to go next week? I said, no, I don't. He said, what about the points? I said, screw the points. I need a break. Anyway, we ended up finishing the season 3rd in points for hog team of the year and like 3rd in ribs or something. And we didn't do the last, I think we missed the last 5 contests or something. I went to the very last contest of the year by myself and just cooked a rib and finaled there. I think I finished 3rd there, but anyway, we ended up 3rd. It was either 2nd or 3rd ribs, 3rd in hog, and like 2nd overall in points for team of the year or something in MBN. I don't know. But after that, I thought that's just way too many for me to do in a row. I need a break. So I'm good with about 10 or 15 a year. You know, I don't really know how people can do it every weekend anymore.
I could realistically do maybe 10 or 12, but that would be probably my max.
Yeah. It's a lot of work, man.
I know me, and it wouldn't be fun anymore. It would not be
right.
fun.
Right now, it's fun. When it becomes a job, you know, yep. I've already got a job. I don't need another one.
Yep, that's exactly how I take it. So what kind of meats and desserts do you like to cook on that isn't comp meats or desserts?
Don't laugh at me, man. Probably my favorite thing to like cook at home that is like non-barbecue comp as far as anything on the grill or smoker is I absolutely love freaking country style ribs and country style ribs and just like grilled pork chops. And I don't know why I like them so much, but man, I love them. And I like to do some like random crazy stuff every now and then, but like I love pork belly. I love to do pork belly. I make pork belly tacos a lot, and that's one of the finest things on earth. But as far as desserts go, I do a really good white chocolate chip French bread pudding with a homemade bourbon caramel glaze. And I've never, as many of those as I've made, I've never cooked one in an oven. So I don't, if I had to cook it in an oven, I might not like it. So I don't know, but right now I love it. And every time I've ever cooked them, they've always been on a grill. So or in like a Dutch oven on the grill or something like that.
Yeah.
But probably that. I'd probably say like pork belly and like country style ribs and just, or like what I call like old timey or old fashioned barbecue chicken. Like nothing like barbecue chicken that we would compete with. I'm talking put salt and pepper on it, throw it on a hot charcoal grill, almost burn it, slather it with sauce, let the sauce caramelize on it. And the kind that you make a mess when you eat. I love that.
Not the comp injected pretty.
God, no. No, not at all. I don't even like that kind of chicken.
We've ate it because I've been practicing since last March for chicken. So we ate the hell out of chicken.
Yeah.
But my wife doesn't even really like grilled. She likes chicken breasts, but she doesn't even like thighs or legs or anything. So I'm getting to the point where I'm getting myself sick of chicken.
Yeah. Well, I know how that goes. Trust me, I'm the same way with barbecue in general, from mainly having the store, and we cater at the store, and oh my gosh, we do classes, and I've eaten so much like ribs and pulled pork and like comp style chicken or brisket, that the thought of having to eat ribs and like not in a contest setting, like I'll probably never just cook ribs or pulled pork at my house just to have again. Like,
Really?
no, because I've eaten too much, and the thought of eating it just makes me nauseated.
My daughter, that's what she always wants for her birthday is my ribs every year. So I usually make them for that.
Yeah, and my daughter's the same way. She'll want some every now and then, and I'll cook them for her, but it's not my favorite thing. And because if I do, 60 or 70, 100 racks a week at the store, you just get tired of it.
Oh, I can only imagine. So that's my next question. Do you host any barbecue competitions at your store throughout the year?
We do, actually. Well, I say we do, yes. One of the things that we started 2 years ago, I had the idea I wanted to have like a chicken wing contest. Mm-hmm. So we host a monthly wing contest for 10 months out of the year. And the teams will come in, they set up in our parking lot. They can do whatever they want to their wings. I don't care how they cook them, as long as they cook them there and they turn them in. I always have alternating judges, so it's double blind judging. It's a ticket system, a lot like SCA. Mm-hmm. They draw tickets. When they turn their box in, they have a ticket in their box. It goes in the back where my judges and my table captain are, and that's it. So, but anyway, we do that once a month, and whoever does, it's winner take all each month. So they pay their entry fee, and 75% of the entry fee goes to the overall winner for each contest. 25% goes in a pot for the end of the year for a finale. The way we do the finale is everybody that wins gets a spot in the finale. If somebody that has like multiple wins, we do a pass down. So it's the next person in line that has not won one gets into the finale. And then we also do points for if somebody does the whole season and they didn't win one, but let's say they finished, third or fourth every time, just couldn't quite get there. Chances are they're going to get in the finale on points.
Gotcha.
So we do chicken wings, and then we have an ancillary, and we have a sponsor for ancillary that the sponsor puts up $100 gift card, and then whatever. And most of our sponsors are rub manufacturers like Brian Odom, Sofa King. He's done it a couple of times both years. And he'll do the gift card, and then he'll like send me rubs, like give first place this, second place this, and on and on.
Yep.
For ancillary. And then the sponsor picks what they cook for an ancillary. Like, you tell me what you want them to cook, I tell them that's what they have to cook. They have to use your rubs, sauces, rubs, whatever.
Cool
on it. And some kind of combination. So it works. Everybody loves it. We had our last one this yesterday, actually, and then our finale is next month. And then on top of that, we didn't do it this year or last year, but we normally do like we call it a Grills of Mississippi barbecue showdown. We'll rent at our reservoir here in Ridgeland, Ross Barnett Reservoir. There's several like really big parks on it, and at those parks, there's tons of power, tons of water. It's overlooking the reservoir. It's really pretty. And we get with the city of Ridgeland and with the Parks and Recreation, and we set it up, and we host a regular barbecue competition that's not sanctioned, but I do it a little different. I bring in professional teams as my judges, and these guys that do this contest, there'll be 10 or 15 teams there, and they're scared to go to a real contest. So I bring in professional teams, and what I mean by professional teams that have been cooking for several years, that have won, that are like real prominent teams. I'll bring them in as judges, and on my score sheet, they have to put a comment. Comment is not an option. If you don't put a comment on it, you will never come judge one of my things again. I
Gotcha.
want these guys to know, like coming from a real barbecue cook, I want to give them some feedback.
Yep.
Like help encourage them to do better and to get out there and cook more. And we did that for several years. The last 2 years we didn't do it. Time got away from me. I got busy with work, COVID. They wouldn't rent us the park.
Yep.
Blah blah blah. Whatever. There were certain COVID guidelines, and they just didn't feel comfortable. So there were no contests there. Period.
Gotcha.
So yeah, and we have a lot of fun doing that. We'll do it, and most contests, and you know this, are Friday, Saturday. We did ours Saturday, Sunday, because a lot of our guys that wanted to come, believe it or not, were like car salesmen, and Saturday's their biggest day. They're not going to miss work, so we would do it. They'd come in Saturday afternoon and then do their cook Saturday night, Sunday, and we do awards Sunday afternoon. Basically, same timelines. We do chicken ribs and brisket. We never made them do pork. I felt like chicken ribs and brisket are probably the most telling anyway. So,
oh yeah.
So that's what we did, and that was a lot of fun. And believe it or not, we got, gosh, I don't know, we probably 7 or 8 to, I'd say between 7 and 10 teams that are actual like cooking on the circuit now, and got their start there doing that and getting help from the other teams there that were judging. So that worked out really well, which is ultimately what I wanted to happen.
Yep.
So yes, to answer your question, we do barbecue contests there.
That's
like
awesome.
that, and our wing contest. So
sometimes those contests can be more fun than the big full-on sanction, because there's so much more pressure and so much more money involved on the
right. And they are, and the people that came in, they had a great time. They always have a good time, and obviously we have rules, and I'm very strict on my rules, and I'm very strict on my timelines. If you're late, don't even bother turning it in. So, but speaking of, I saw Hank King just commented. He's a real good buddy of ours, and Hank King's the one that got started. Well, I wouldn't say he got his start doing our contest, but he's been to every one of our contests, and I know that he says that our judges with their comments have definitely helped him, and now Hank is a force to be reckoned with on the barbecue circuit. So
there's actually this, I think it's OG Bandits up at Kansas City, did a practice cook one weekend in their driveway, but they had KCBS judges
right
do it and gave them feedback in person about what they were looking for.
We've done that.
There needs to be a lot more of those kind of things.
We've done that. We had a
awesome.
We had a group of friends that was going to. There used to be this contest here locally called Smoking on the Res. It was at the reservoir, but it was a KCBS sanctioned contest. There's a lot of judges in our area that we know and we're friends with, and these guys wanted to. They wanted to practice, and look, they practiced and practiced and practiced, but they didn't really know. They didn't know what direction to go, so I called up 4 judges that I know in the area. I said, "Hey, what do y'all think about doing this?" They're like, "Tell me what time to be there, and it is on." Same exact thing like you just said. These 4 judges showed up at their house, and they cooked, followed their timelines, and got feedback. When it came time for contest time, they killed it. So it worked.
Hey, Brian. So what made you and Jonathan start the Girls of Mississippi store?
We were in, let's see, we went to the MBN awards banquet one year in Memphis, and there was a store up there called Memphis Barbecue Supply. We found out about it. We wanted to go check it out. So we went and looked at it and thought, man, this is a hell of a concept. We need to do something like this in our area. So, oh gosh, it took us about 2 years to finally bite the bullet and do it. And it was a change, a big change for both of us, because Jonathan was already established in the home audio video business. He had his own business doing that, and I was prominent in the car audio 12-volt industry, doing car audio, video security, and everything. I'd been doing that for 25 years, and we kept talking about it, and then we were scared to death to do it, because we it was like a change. You know, we were comfortable where we were, and we're going out on this limb on something that everybody kept telling us, you're an idiot for doing this. You're not going to make it. This is never going to work. Blah blah blah. And we're like, we're going to make this work. If it kills us, try it.
Yep.
And I'll tell you, man, it worked. You know, we are. I don't know as far as square footage goes, but I think we're probably one of the largest barbecue supply stores in the nation as far as, as far as product goes, as far as rubs, sauces, injection marinades, we have close to 800 different ones in the store.
Wow.
And I'm telling you, it is a freaking headache to keep up with.
Do you guys ship everywhere?
Yes, we do. I have shipped many, many, many things to Alaska, as crazy as that is. But
I was wondering if Missouri would be too far to ship.
no, not at all. I ship to Alaska. I've shipped to Maine, New York quite a bit. I've got several customers that are in Montana that I ship a lot of stuff to. California, Oregon, several that are in New York, and obviously Alaska. I ship to Chicago or Illinois, Indiana. Gosh, I've actually shipped to Missouri and all over, North Dakota, South Dakota. We are, as far as our area goes, we sell Yoder pellet grills, Yoder smokers. And I believe we're the only stocking dealer probably in about 3 or 4 states. And I sell an unbelievable amount of Yoder smokers to guys in Louisiana, Texas, believe it or not, Arkansas, Alabama, the Florida Panhandle, sent some to Georgia. Had some guys come in from South Carolina to buy them. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's a good deal, man. It's a good deal. It's a headache and it's stressful. And I've aged 30 years in the last 7.5 years, but
I can only imagine. And what is your favorite grill to cook on?
Ooh, that's a tough question. If I had to pick one, gosh, man, I'd have to flip a coin. I love the Weber Smokefire pellet grill. I absolutely love it. That is my favorite pellet grill that I've ever had cooked on, hands down. And I do have an Old Hickory CTO and an Old Hickory ELEDX, and I also have a drum. So, gosh, I'd have to flip a couple coins between all of those.
Yep.
It's hard to beat an Old Hickory. Everybody knows about a drum. They're unbelievable cookers. But as far as ease of cooking, convenience, and great results every time, and no problems, I'm gonna take that Weber Smokefire, honestly.
What's your comp cooker?
A CTO and a barrel.
Sorry, my daughter's come out of the room. I wasn't shushing you.
No good.
Oh, Lizzie, go back to your room. All right, we're good.
No, on the comp cookers are a drum and a Old Hickory CTO.
I gotcha. What kind of drum is it? Is it a certain brand or is it a homemade one or a?
It's actually the guy that commented earlier, Hank King. It's a Hank King special. We call it the HKS or the King Can. That's what we call it. That's what I called it. He made it. It got me the barrel, built me the drum, and yeah, I tell you what, man, I love cooking on drums. And honestly, before drums became the craze over the last couple of years, I built a drum myself. Probably, I don't know, at least 10 years ago or so, when I was cooking on a drum, and there were several people cooking on them, not many, and a lot of people actually thought they were just our trash cans. I've had somebody walk by and raise the lid and try to throw something in it. I'm like, whoa, Hoss, what's going on here? So, yeah, I love a drum. And then I kind of got out of that fad and went with various other cookers throughout the years, and I finally said, I've got to have another drum, man. And Hank's a hell of a guy, and he built him a couple, and he built me one too. I got him to build me one, and they're cooking machines.
Yeah, that's what I cook on is homemade drums in a Weber Smoky Mountain.
Yeah, I cooked on a Smoky Mountain for several years. I love them.
But that was my first smoker I ever got, and that one is by far the one I know the best. And
Yes.
which is weird because I cook chicken, pork, and brisket on drums, but I like my ribs on my WSM.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just don't. I feel like it gives it a better flavor on there than it does on my drums for some reason.
Hey, at the American Royal last year, I cooked my briskets on a WSM 18-inch.
What I got an 18-inch. The old state. I've had it for so long. I know all its quirks, and it leaks air so bad I shut it down completely once it hits about 250, and it holds temp perfectly.
Yeah.
Because there's so much air that already leaks into it that it doesn't need to be. All my dampers are shut.
Right. Yeah. No. I'm a hot and fast kind of guy, so I run mine about 325 to 350, and same
Nice.
thing. You cook on it so long, you learn the quirks, and it's like clockwork. You start it, and it's gonna go there, and it'll hold.
Yep. So that's my next question. Do you like a sweet or spicy flavor profile?
I like a combination of both. I feel like it needs to have a little of both, but not too much of either, if that makes sense. I like sweet with heat, but I don't want the heat to linger, and I want the sweet to counter that heat. It's kind of like I tell people when we're doing classes and when customers come in asking about ribs and or anything like that, and they're like, "I want something sweet." I'm like, "Try this. It's hot, but try this too because it's sweet." They're like, "Oh no," and I'm like, "Just go with it." And I said, "Put your hot on the bottom of the rib, or if that's what they're doing, and your sweet on top." And they're like, "Why? Why don't I put it all on top?" And I'm like, so which leads me into this whole discussion with people that I tell them, I'm like, "How are you gonna pick that rib up and eat it?" And they're like, "Just like this." And I'm like, "All right, where's your taste buds?" They're like, "They're on my tongue." And I'm like, "So what's the first part of that rib you're gonna get taste from?" They're like, "The bottom." I'm like, "All right, so we're gonna get heat, but then as you eat that rib, the sweet's gonna counter that heat.
Yep.
And it's gonna make for a better all over product." So they're like, "Well, I've never really thought about it like that." So yeah, I like sweet with heat. I don't want too much sweet. I don't want too much heat. I like my sweet heat to have a little tang too, if that makes sense. But
Yep.
I don't want it like freaking sugar, but I don't want to like habanero melt your face off either. So
That's what I've kind of realized on my ribs. At first I thought when I first started doing it that it was going to be too much heat, but I guess I have enough sweet in there to balance it.
yep, sweet's going to counter that heat, man, and it's going to work out. You know, like everybody says, trust the process.
Yep. So what's your favorite competition meat to cook, and which one's your least favorite?
God, my least favorite's chicken. I hate it. Absolutely hate it. My favorite, I'm better at ribs than anything else. My favorite to cook is brisket. My least favorite's chicken. I hate chicken, which coincidentally, I probably run more trophies with chicken. Probably chicken and pork than anything, and those are my two least favorite. I don't know. It's probably, I don't know. I've gotten quite a few with ribs as well, but I hate cooking chicken, man. It's just something about it. I hate the process. I hate the trim. Started cooking legs several years ago. Still didn't like doing it. We have a guy that joined our team with Jonathan and I last year that is an unbelievable chicken cook, and he absolutely loves it. He loves everything about chicken, and I'm like, his name is Chris White.
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Chris, chicken is yours then, buddy." He's like, "Well, what do you want me to do?" I said, "I want you to cook the chicken and leave me alone because I don't want to fool with it." You do what you want to do to it. I'm not touching it. So
It is definitely. I was doing turn-ins last Saturday with chicken, and I was doing something, and my exact words were "competition barbecue stupid."
I agree. I agree 100%.
It is. There's some of the random crap that you don't. It's stupid.
It is, man. And it changes so much. And that's what's so aggravating. But I guess that's why we keep doing it. Because we're chasing something. the flavor profile changed almost every year. You know,
I
from
always
year
say
to year.
I always say it's like a fat guy's baseball in our sports. It's the sport we can cook and do.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I mean, I had one profile that I was using last year, and gosh, probably from the last half of last year, man, we were killing it. Like, I mean, with ribs, pork, brisket, and chicken, we were killing it. And then we start this year with the same profile, and it's like, nope,
Yep.
that's not going to work this year.
Yep.
So
It's ever
you're
changing.
just sitting there like, what the hell do I do now?
What kills me is when you get a bad score and there's nothing to go with it.
No comment card. That is so irritating, which is exactly why at our contest we make them give a comment card. You've got to have one. Nobody's going to get better if there's no comment card.
That's what I ran into a contest and I got hammered on ribs and I have no idea why.
Yeah, and you know, and I don't want to bash judges. I judge on both circuits, but man, just it's almost like, gosh, and I'm sure some are listening are going to have something to say, but I don't care. It's like they get a pencil in their hand, and it can ruin your day, man. It can ruin your day, and you've done all that work, spent all that money, and your day got ruined, and they won't tell you why.
And we both know judges that you'll sit at a table with that will not give a 9 out. It doesn't not matter.
Right.
What. They're like, oh, that was great. And then they gave it a 7. And I'm like, what? Like,
yeah. And I could show you pictures of turn-in boxes that on appearance I got a 5.
What?
Yeah, I got a 5. I got a 5.99, and then 9s across from every other judge. And this one judge gave me a freaking 5 on appearance. No comment, no nothing. I went to the rep. The rep. Like, you got to tell me this. Why? Why is this? Kept me from winning $1,000 because of a stupid 5 on appearance. And it was an immaculate box, like picture perfect. I got a 5.
If I get a 5 on appearance, it better look like a dog threw up in that box to get a 5.
That's exactly what I said. And I was real upset because I didn't look at the score sheet when we got it. I knew on chicken, we had ended up with like a second or third chicken, first rib. I think brisket was a third or fourth, and pork was the one that I got that in, I actually believe. It was pork because we ended up like way down in pork because of that stupid 5. And I was like, how did that 1.5 make that much of a difference? Anyway, I think we ended up reserve granding that contest. And on the way home that day, I was pretty bummed about it because I was like, man, we were so close. So I look, and then I see that 5 on appearance. And then at the time, Candy Weaver was she was president or whatever of KCBS. And we sell Candy's pellets at the store, so we see her all the time and talk to her all the time. Turns out the next week she came in the store to pick up some stuff. She was going to another contest. I'd gotten some briskets for her or something like that. And she came in, and I said, Candy, I want to show you something. And I went and got the score, my sheet, and I brought it in and showed it to her, and she kind of tilted her head. She said, well, that doesn't make sense. I was like, you're telling me it don't? She's like, well, obviously we can't do anything about it now. I said, well, I'm not asking you to. I just want you to be aware of this. And what she said made a lot of sense. I don't really think the judge gave me a 5. I think the judge, like, you can write a 9 and it kind of looks like a 5 if you do it really fast. Because the circle don't close. And she said, this is probably what happened. Anyway, I was like, well, I'd like to think that's what happened, but I got screwed on it, but no big deal. She said, if you had saw it then, you could have brought it up and they would have went and got the judge and corrected everything if that was the case. Well, story of my life, day late and dollar short, but it happens. But yeah, man. I feel like all judges should be able or should have to go cook with a team, and I know master judges do. We've had several master judges come cook with us throughout the years to get their master certification, which is fine, which is cool. And like they say, he's like, we had no idea this is all what went on or whatever. I just think, man, the judges need to go cook with the team before they're allowed to get that pencil in their hand. Yeah. I wish somebody would do something about it. I don't know, because it's crazy. They'll ding you for some of the dumbest crap and not give you a comment. So you don't know what to do.
Yeah, that's what I was putting chicken in the box last weekend, and there was one piece that I accidentally left turned over, so it had a little extra. The skin wasn't right around the knuckle, so it didn't match the other 5. Right. And I got dinged. I didn't even see it until after I turned it in.
Yeah.
But it's my wife's like, really? They ding you for that? I said, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Or like a random little piece of garnish or a blood or marrow spot on a rib or something to clean off. And
yep.
But oh yeah, anything that draws their attention away from the prettiness of the box gets dinged.
They'll get dinged in a heartbeat. And even if you get dinged on taste or texture, they're not. 9 times out of 10, you're not going to get a comment.
No.
So you don't know. Like, tell me what you didn't like about it.
The last contest I was at, it wasn't bad because it's kind of like a strike zone, whether it's adjusted in baseball. It was for everybody. But the scores were low across the board. Like, I won chicken with a 167.
Wow.
Yeah. I think they got a couple uncertified judges that just didn't know what they were. Not almost they didn't know what they were doing, but they scored everybody low, which is, I guess, fine because everybody was low. But
there's always a table of death, Yep. At least that's what we call it down here.
Yep.
And just hope you don't end up on that table of death.
Yeah. And what happens? Better way to eliminate those.
Yeah, no kidding. Man.
But like I said, I see both sides of it because I judge and compete. But
yeah, I do the same, and I'm going to be the first one to write a comment card on something that I think, hey, this was really good, but I think the texture was a little off or something.
I will adamantly write a comment card now for every category at least.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And if I'm going to give somebody below if I'm going to score it an 8 or below, I'm going to tell them why I scored it like that. Yep. Just because. I think they all should do it, but
especially if you're going to give somebody a 7, I think you need to have a comment.
Absolutely. I mean, freaking, basically a 6 is inedible. So
yeah,
if you're going to score somebody that, tell them why you scored that. So.
Yeah. So do you have any rubs or sauces that you make?
No. And I'll tell you, man, years ago, I used to make all of our sauces and rubs to compete with. And then it cost so much to make. And then I decided, I'm like, there are so many really good rubs out here that you can use, like a combination of several different rubs and have something that you're not going to be able to make yourself.
No.
As one rub. So same goes with sauce. I mean, there's 3 sauces I use, and there's 3 rubs that I use, and those are my 3 staples. And I'm going to use them, and I can't make anything that good. You know what I mean? Is what I'm getting at. So I'm not going to try to. Somebody else has already done that research and made it good. So A, I'm supporting them, and B, it saved me some time and money.
I get that. So what advice do you have for people getting started in competition barbecue?
Man, that was the toughest one. That whenever you told me you were going to ask that, I thought about that, and I thought about that, and I thought about that. Because the generic answer is go to a contest and talk to cooks, which is the same advice I got years ago, and it didn't work for me. It was, it was like you'd walk up, and they'd pull foil out and cover their stuff up, and they're like, well, what can I help you with? I'm like, man, I'm just, trying to get into this or trying to get some information. And they're like, well, you can come back later or whatever. I don't have, so my best advice to somebody is find somebody that has done contests and talk to them one-on-one outside of a contest.
Yeah.
Like not in a contest setting. Go to a contest, watch it, walk around, look, interact with people as much as you can. But I mean, at every contest you go to, there's locals there. Mm-hmm. And even if they do well or don't do well, talk to them after the contest. When everything is over, talk to them. And I feel like, and I tell people this in our classes that we do at the store. If you come to one of our classes and you learn one thing, it was a success. So if you can learn one thing from anybody, you've learned something. You know what I mean? Talk to somebody away from a contest. I'm not going to say go to a contest and try to find out. No, find somebody outside of one and talk to them, because you're probably not going to get any information from somebody at a comp. But they're fun to go to,
No, I agree. I try to, whenever I go to a contest, if I see a new team or get parked next to a new team, I try to make sure they have any questions answered. Anything.
Absolutely. And Jonathan and I are the same way. And that's one of the things we said years ago was like, because nobody would tell us anything when we were starting, that I'm going to tell everybody every damn thing I know now. If somebody's got a question, ask me, and I'm going to tell you what I know. It might not be the right way. It might not be the wrong way, but it's my way, and my way has worked in the past.
I always say, what's the fun of competing if I have to do it all in secret?
Exactly. It's
I may not give you all the keys to the kingdom, but I will give you 90%.
I'll give you enough to build your set of keys.
Yep.
I'm not gonna tell you every exact thing that I do, but I mean, you can come cook with me and cook right beside me and watch it and write down what I do, but chances are you're still not going to cook it that way.
Yep.
But it'll be a good start.
That's the thing about going to competition cook classes. Yes, it's great. And I had Stump McDowell on here last week or a couple weeks ago. He said the same thing. He goes, but I tell my people at classes, make it your own, because just because I cook it this way doesn't mean it's going to turn out that way for you.
Exactly. Make it your own. Take something that I've given you and make it your own. And that's definitely some damn good advice from Stump. So,
yep.
And I tell you, Jonathan and I, especially at the store, we're an open book. So if anybody's thinking about it, competing or whatever, and they have questions, I don't care where they are, call the store and talk to us, and we'll tell you whatever we can.
Sweet Baby Ray's and Dano's.
Hank.
Lordy.
Don't let Hank fool you. He uses
Sweet Baby Ray's on everything.
No, Sweet Baby Ray's, Hank puts Dano's on everything.
Yeah.
Dano's is pretty good cooked on some stuff. I'm not going to lie, but
I don't know if I've ever had that.
It's not good out of that bottle, though. It needs to cook on something. I'll tell you this, it makes the best damn mashed potatoes you'll ever eat in your life.
That must be a Southern thing.
It's got to be, but it's hard to beat on mashed potatoes.
So what's the future look like for your team in the store?
Man, we're gonna keep giving it 110%. We're too invested in it now to walk away from it.
Yep.
So, and we're just gonna keep doing what we do, competing as much as we can, and try to keep the store going, keep it up there, and if we can encourage some people to cook and barbecue and grow the sport, if you will, of barbecue, that's what we're going to do, because it's, and I'll tell you this, man, talking about, this is back to our wing contest. this is what makes me feel good about everything that we do is last year at our contest, we had a girl show up to cook chicken wings. She came with an air fryer and cooked her wings. Now, she didn't do well, but she came with her aunt. She was 13 years old. Nobody knew her. The fact that she came and cooked chicken wings at a contest with an air fryer spoke volumes. So naturally, everybody gets together. They're like, we'll see if she comes back. She came back next month, dude. So a couple people found out, put together some stuff, bought her a grill, gave her rubs and sauces, and then she came and did a 101 chicken class at the store with Jonathan and I. And she started improving. I think the best she did last year, she had a second place wing in one of the contests, but she came every time. Now, fast forward to this year. There's a buddy of ours named Devin Morris. His stepson, Riley, is turning out. Riley's going to be a name that everybody is going to hear soon enough. Riley touched on, because this kid is going to be, he's going to be the next Brad Leininger or something like that. He loves barbecue, and he does it his way. He is killing it. He's won several chicken wing contests. He is the only person in 2 years to ever have a perfect score on chicken wings at our contest.
Oh, wow.
He turned 13 this year.
That's great.
He got earlier this year. There was a contest local to us in Brookhaven called Hog Wild Festival.
Mm-hmm.
They needed one more team, so it would be a qualifier. So the contest rep, a good friend of ours, put up the money for Riley to compete, went and bought him some meat at 10 o'clock that night, came back and gave it to him and said, Riley, this is what you're doing. We need an extra team. You're the team to make us a qualifier. So basically did it so there would be enough teams. Turns out Riley killed it. We had like a third place chicken, man. He kind of got shafted on his ribs. He didn't cut one of them all the way, so he got DQ'd. His pork, he got a call in pork and brisket and chicken. He's been to several other contests over the summer and done very, very well. You know, his mom and stepdad Devin take him. But and the cool thing is, a lot of people think, well, they're doing it for him, they're helping him. Absolutely not. Riley wants to do everything his way, and he does it, and he does well. He does very well. A couple of weeks ago, there was an SCA contest local to us, and Riley got his golden ticket to the World Championship.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
13 years old.
Yeah, kid's gonna be good. Kid's gonna be really good. Awesome kid, very humble, and that's just, I love seeing that, man. And I know I've said it and I sound like a broken record, but I love, especially when kids get into it and they want to cook and they want to do this. And if somebody sees a kid getting into it and they don't help them, shame on them, man. Shame on them, because eventually we're all going to be too damn old and fat to do it. We can't. So then what's going to happen? Barbecue's going to go away. So
got to grow the sport.
Got to grow it, man. And kids are where it's at. And it's sort of like a, I don't know. It feels good when you see kids out there doing it, you know,
Well,
until they beat you and you're like, crap, man, I just got beat by a 13-year-old.
Why I'm glad we're starting the high school barbecue association.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get my hometown team get started in it, but
it's cool, man. It's really cool.
It's big in Texas. I know that much.
Yeah, and I know who was it? Melissa Cookson started the thing with the kids competing.
Yes.
Next weekend in Louisville, Mississippi. It's an MBN contest. We'll be there, obviously, because I love that contest. But she'll be there again this year with the group of kids competing. So that's a really cool thing that she's done with that.
No, I love seeing more kids and kids queue and all that stuff.
Yeah. It's cool. It's fun, man. It's really fun.
It is fun. Does anybody else have any questions for him before I let him go?
Hank King needs to behave.
I think Brian had a question up there, but I'm not going to address it.
Probably better off that way.
Probably not.
Brian. Hey, I'll tell you what. Have you made any of them, Brian?
No, God, no. I'm not asking.
I just saw it. And look, I was just about to say that. I don't know if you ever had Brian's freaking sausage roll thing that he does, but my God, it is good.
Anybody else have anything that's appropriate to ask? Well, thank you for coming on here. It's been awesome talking to you.
Yes, sir, man. It was a good time for sure.
I'm gonna have to check out your store online and give her a gander.
Do that. There's probably some things missing off there. I'm the one that updates the web store, and it's a freaking headache, and I try to stay on top of it. But I'm sure there's a lot of things missing that I haven't added to the store yet. So.
If anybody else is watching, go check them out.
Yeah, do that.
Well, thank you for coming on, man.
Not a problem, man. I'm glad you asked me.
Yep. Have a good night.
You do the same, sir.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.